And hello, welcome all. In our previous sessions, web service sessions, we have discussed about the importance of the schema, and we also discussed about the drawbacks of using the parsers like Sax and DOM. They were a little old, so whenever let me open my Eclipse. So this is my demo site. Okay, I have my XML here. So here, if you look at this thing, it's a simple XML document. Let's say this is simple XML, right? So here we have the employer. So if you look at this is our XML, right? So this is our XML. Let me make a few modifications. I have used prefix, so I need to remove it. So remove it. Okay, let me copy and paste it in the Eclipse. So let's say this is our XML file. If you look at XML, this is employer, and the employer has sub tag, sub element or a child element known as employee. So employee has two more child elements or two sub tags, that is ID and the name. So this way we have the complex XML. So here in the complex XML, if you look at so if at all the Java program needs to read this XML file, so here it needs to convert this for the first employee as one object, and the second object as this, and third object as this. This is how it needs to read. So but here the Java program needs to read only the data. That is nothing but it needs to read only one and the name. It doesn't require these tags. So to eliminate this, if at all we have to write in the Java program, we need to make use of the input file stream and all those things, and which makes it very difficult to code. So that's the reason we got the parsers like Sax and DOM. And of course they were no more in use, but we got the parsers like Sax and DOM where we need to define the name of the XML file. That is nothing but we need to define the name of the XML file as one.xml, and as well as we need to make it know what are the tags this XML has. So whenever there is in the modification to the name of the file, that is one.xml, or to the if there are additions or deletions of any tags to this XML, then definitely we should make some changes in the parsers. So that's the main drawback of this parsers like Sax and DOM. So then there comes the schema. So before defining the schema, so that's about the parsers. So let's come to the point of the schema. So what the schema is nothing but where it's kind of the file. It's also an XML file where we define certain rules and regulations. So according to that, we follow we create the XML file. So let's start working on the XML file. Okay, I'm going to delete all these things. It's not required for me for now because we are working on the schemas. So first of all, before creating the XML file, we need to create the schema file. The schema file is also an XML file where we are going to define certain set of rules and regulations for creation of the XML. Okay. So first of all, right click on it, say other, and select XML. If you select XML, we have the two files. That is, one is XML file, other one is XML schema file. So I'm going to select XML schema file because we need to first of all set the rules, then we can start working on XML file. So here, if you look at the XML file, XML schema file, first of all, let me modify the name. Let me say it's as employees. The name of the XML schema file is employees. So the other important point to be noted is if you look at extension, so all the schemas extensions are XSD, XML schema design. It stands for the XML schema design. So the extension for the schema is .xsd. So this stands for the XML schema design. Okay, XML schema design. So first of all, let me create the XML file with the name employees. I'll say finish. So whenever we say finish, so we're going to get the source file. And of course, this create little confusion, so I'm not going to go to the source file. I will go directly to the source file. If you look at the source file, just like XML, even we have the XML default declaration. Okay, XML default declaration. But for the XML schema, we have a separate tag which is with the name schema. With the schema, let me delete the schema. Okay, so this is the XML file, right? Of course, XSD stands for the XML schema. So we have this file. So first of all, as I said, it needs to have a schema. So let me first of all go manually. I will write down each and every tag manually and attribute manually, so that we will get to know in a much more detailed way. The schema control space is not showing anything. Okay, I will say control space. Okay, validate. Correct. Okay, right. So I'm going to say control space. It's not showing anything. So I'll say schema. Schema. The schema. If I say control space, it's showing me few things. So it's asking me to enter the default namespace. So I will select this. My default namespace is, so I have selected the selected XML namespace. So namespace attribute is XML NMS. So let me enter the name here. So for the schema, the other important point to be noted is the schema set of rules and regulations to define the schemas is given by one organization, that is W3, not W3 school. Let me go to this site. So definitely, to define this standard, we need to have some organizations who controls all these things, right? So that is the W3 org, not W3 school. If you go to W3 org, so this is the organization which controls the everything, which controls the tells us how to design the schema and all those stuff. Okay. Okay, right. Minimize it. So I'm going to instead name as http://w3.org/2001 w3 XML. I'm going to say XML schema. XML schema. So I'm going to say save as. When I save as, so internally it's going to make use of this schema. Okay, save. So when I enter control space, it's going to, as I added the namespace here, So that particular namespace is going to have few attributes. It's going to populate us with few attributes because we have added that particular namespace. So what is that it's showing? It's showing us attribute from default, okay, and it's showing the target namespace. So first of all, let me enter target namespace. So target namespace is nothing but your namespace. Okay, our namespace. So what is that our namespace? You can enter, it should be unique and it should be your website address or your company address followed by your project and all those stuff. So let's say that I'm going to give my website name. So this is some demo project, right? So I'm going to give a demo project for the employees. Okay. So I'm going to set this. Okay. So for this namespace, as I said, the target namespace, I need to set namespace for this. So I'm going to say XML namespace. Okay, I'm not going to use this. So I'm going to, as we already have the namespace, XML namespace. So for my namespace, I need to differentiate this namespace, the namespace of the W3 org and the namespace of my target namespace. It should be differentiated. So let me copy this. So I'm creating the namespace for this, my target, for my target namespace. First of all, copy this. Not this one. This is called namespace. So this is my namespace. So as to differentiate between W3 namespace and my namespace, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add alias name. Alias name is target namespace. Let's say this can be your, this can be anything. So here I'm going to give the same address as the target name. Copy this, done. So once it is done, we also need to give one more tag. That is nothing but qualified name to make sure this is qualified. Qualified. Let me select this qualified. Okay. For now, this is the schema. So this is first of all to define, to get the rules and regulations from the for writing the schema. We need to first of all the XML namespace is nothing like, it's like just like a package. So whenever we need to download, we need to make use of in the Java we have the packages, right? So whenever we have to make use of those classes related to it, so we are going to import them. So similarly, if you want to make use of the elements and attributes related to the schema, which is designed, which are set by the rules and regulations set by the W3, we have to mention that package. That package is nothing but namespace here. Okay. So I have set the namespace. So when I add this namespace, it's going to provide me with a few attributes. That attribute, one of the attributes is target namespace. So target namespace is nothing but your website name. Okay, and you see to you need to also you have mentioned target namespace, that's good, but you also need to mention it as, you have to also need to convert it as a schema so that the XML what you create can utilize this. Okay. And so why do we have added the alias name as XML NS colon PNS? Because here we already have one more XML NS. So to differentiate between these two namespaces, I have added the alias name here. If at all we want, we can also add the alias name here. But so if we add the alias name here for the W3 org, for all the child element also you need to add that particular alias name as prefix. I'm going to show you that thing. So, so the qualified name is S6. Now it has created a schema. Inside the schema, so here you need to define the elements. So what are the elements you want? So I'm going to define, I'm going to right click on it. So it's going to show me all the possible elements that I can make use of. So how did I got these elements? I got it because I have added this namespace w3org. So it's showing me all this possible things. So I'm going to make use of the element. Okay. So what is the name of the element? Element is nothing but tag. Okay. So what are the tags you want to create in the XML file? So that thing you are going to mention here in this schema. So let's say that I want to create some tag with the name employees. Yes, employees. So we should also define the type. What is the type? Define the name. So what is it? What it is going to hold? Whether it's going to hold integer value, whether it's going to hold numeric value, it's going to hold character or a string, or what it's going to hold. So that thing we have to define. So to define that, we need to use other attribute known as type. In the type, see, it has automatically create double quotes. Let me control space. Here you can, even though it is double quotes, you can enter control space. So we'll say this element employee as string. So I'm saying that this employee is a string. So I'm going to save. So here the data type of the employee is string. So type is nothing but data type. Okay. So let's go with one element now. Okay. So as we have set certain rules and regulations in the schema, so we are going to follow this schema and create XML file. Okay. So using this schema, let me create my XML file. I'm going to save it. So the name of the XML schema file is employees.xst. So let me create the XML file. Oh, we have created in the wrong location. We need to create in the source main resources. So I'm going to drag and drop this. So now my source main resources is going to have this thing. So this is my source folder. Source folder is nothing but class path. So you can place in the source main Java, or you can also, this is also in class path. So I have right click on it, right click on my project, say new, and selected source folder. Source folder is nothing but class path. So I have the schema file. So similarly, I'm going to create one XML file. I'm going to say new other and select XML file. And I'm going to here the XML file. For the XML files, the extension is XML. Whereas for the schemas, it is extension is XSD, XML schema design. So I'm going to give the same name here. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to select. You can select if at all you want to create directly using referring some XML schema file. You can say that thing. But here I don't want to go to create automatically. So I will say directly select create XML from the XML template. Okay, say next and finish. So when I say create an XML file, it's going to, by default, it's going to create XML declaration. Okay, so XML declaration. So we got some warning here. What is that? Let me place my cursor there and check what is my warning. Okay, it's not showing. Let me right click on it and say validate. Okay, then check for the warning. So it's saying that no grammar constraints DTD or XML referenced in this document. So it's saying that so you have created this XML file, but I need to read some if at all this XML needs to create the XML tags according to certain standards. So it needs this XML file. So that's the reason it's saying that I need XML file. I need XML schema file so that I can read from there and create the elements accordingly. So that's the warning. So what we're going to do is we all know that we have the element. Let me open XST file. We have the element known as employees. Okay, element known as employees. So let me use that element. I'm going to control space. Okay, it's not going to show anything. I'm going to simply select employees. Simply going to say employees. Control space. So now I'm not completely done with my XML schema file. So, but I want to use this XML schema file as a standard here. So what I'm going to do is we have defined the element as an employees, right? So I'm using the same element here as a tag. So in order to acquire the rules and definitions from the XML schema file, I need to use the namespace here. Okay. So namespace is nothing but it's kind of a package. Let's say control space, XML namespace. So it has added default one. I don't want to go with the default one. And I don't want the alias name. Control S. Okay. So I need the package. I need to download few things from my schema file. I need to download my set of rules and regulations from the XML schema. So to do that, we need to copy the. So here we have given some name, right? Name of the schema. So you can simply copy that schema. Here you have given this name of the schema as this. Okay, so you're going to copy this and you're going to give it here. Control space. So with this, so this warning should go away. Let me right click on it, say validate. Okay. So now what we have done is here we have given the namespace of this employees.txt. Here we have one more namespace. What is this? So this schema is using this package. Okay, so whereas my employees.xml is using this package. So here we have defined the target name. So target name is nothing but so if at all the others want to make use of this XML schema file, so then they have to import this package. So import this package as namespace. Okay, so that's what I have done here. So here I have imported the XML namespace and given the name of that particular URL. Okay, same name. Whereas the XML schema, it's importing the rules and regulations from this site. You can simply go to copy this and go to this site and check what are the things that w3.org is providing. So if you go to it here, it has certain rules and regulations related resources for the XML schemas. It has introductions and resources you can go through if at all you have time. But DTD files, they are little old, not little, they are too old. In the complete career, I have not seen the DTD's file getting used in any of my projects. So we are not going to talk much more in detail about DTD, but we're going to give a overview what exactly DTD is all about. But we're going to concentrate much more on XML schema for now. So that's about this thing. So let me stop here, and thank you.